Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I hope, I hope you did come back. I'm not sure how many views this video is going to get. I guess there's only one way to find out. Welcome back. My name is Saif Sekalala, and today we're continuing with our "Long Live People" slash you can learn anything campaign. And this video here, this episode is dedicated to project management. It's the first of 5 episodes, which are again about project management. If you watched my intro video, which again it's on my channel somewhere here, if you've come across this video somehow, then somewhere in the suggested videos on the what is it on the left, right, on the right margin of the screen, YouTube will suggest might show that video. So anyway, this is the first part of the project management series, and so I promise to be very disciplined, and let's just get right into it. Okay. So first, I'll always like to do some dedications and shout outs. Just expand the screen, or hopefully it's gonna all demonstrate. Yeah, there you go. So first, dedications and shout outs. Flask is the project that I work with under Code for Philly, which is in turn a the sub, the chapter of the Code for America nonprofit. Okay, and so Flask is a web app, and for now we have locations. We've mapped locations in the city of Philadelphia. I believe we're about to start, expanding to South Jersey and Delaware, etc. But it's a web app for finding water, food, bathrooms when you're out there. All right. We started off with just water, drinking water, to in an environmentally uh, better way. Like instead of buying bottled water, go out with your reusable bottle, and get thirsty. There's a park nearby. There might be businesses that are friendly. You can go there, get some water. They let you use the bathroom, and then there's also public parks that have, where you can do foraging. There's fruit, and if it's a public park, then that's for everybody to have, right? So, and then my buddy Tony Kencheze of Magic 100 FM in Kampala, Uganda. Tony has been a huge supporter of mine. Although, I don't know, Kent, you have not done the shout out. Well, you haven't kind of. I don't know. Never mind. We'll talk about that later. And finally, Professor Belinda Goodrich herself. I was so humbled when I posted the my intro video to my LinkedIn, and surprise, surprise, next, the last set of videos is going to be about my boy, my artist, favorite artist, Drake. And so, for me, next to meeting a rock star, or meeting, like, I don't know, one of my favorite former presidents, uh, really someone like a Professor Goodrich is like, oh my God, like I was so. And I'm still in disbelief. Moreover, she complimented the video, and so I'm just so thank you so much, Professor Goodrich. I'm gonna send you this. Hopefully, you like it as well. I really hope I'm doing justice to you, to your book, to your exam prep book. All right, let's get right into it. That's it for the dedications. Now, first, I gotta start with a disclaimer. In terms of copyright, I was first of all, like I just mentioned, I was very hardened, uh, very happy. I was very happy the fact that Professor Goodrich was actually, supportive of this. Uh, um, yeah, let me call it a project, all right? So, or a mini project. But I gotta. It's very very important for me to point out the fact that number one, these videos cannot be used as the required. If you're trying to get your PMP certification, PMI, the organization that issues that certification, requires you to take trainings. If you don't have, so me, I have a CAPM, and so if you already have a CAPM, then you can then just register to, so to speak, graduate, go from the CAPM to the PMP after you've accumulated enough project management hours, which luckily I have. Okay, and so, but these videos right here and other content, like, you're gonna have to. There are approved vendors, and even if you already have the CAPM, now me, I'm using Professor Goodrich's materials. I highly recommend them. But the point is, you have to prep very, very well. PMI will require you to, again, without the CAPM, to have a to enroll with a vendor, a prep vendor, or an instructor, and then but the other thing is, of course, just I've pointed it out before, but I have to just make it very clear. This content is based on Professor Goodrich's exam prep materials, and I believe, and no, she does state clearly in her materials that in turn she also bases her materials on her content from the on the PMBOK-Guide. So the PMBOK in full is the project management body of knowledge, and the PMBOK-Guide is Project Management International. That's the nonprofit organization that issues the PMP. PMBOK-Guide is their guide to the PMBOK. Okay, project management body of knowledge is a set of best practices, standards, etc. that folks in the industries, project managers, I guess it somehow evolved over time, whereby we realized, and so when I say we, I guess project managers, the way it used not to be like a discipline in and of itself, but then folks realized that, you know what, yes, in engineering, in computer science, in uh, construction, name it, you need and other and many other businesses, we need, an interdisciplinary body of kind of like a domain, knowledge and practice domain, and that's project management. Got to mention, by the way, time wise, I'm not doing well, but that's okay. I just, it's very important for me to, kind of just not rush through this stuff, because it's very important for you to understand. So I am going to try to, even though I've gone over, I've paused the clock at 2 minutes, but, I'd much rather that I help you learn the material for real versus me just rushing through it and then you not learning. All right. So we get right to Professor Goodrich's materials, and again, which are based on PMI's PMBOK, right? PMBOK-Guide, rather. So, chapter one is about the PMP exam. That one, honestly, all I gotta tell you is, I mean, I talked about it in the first video. I encourage you to go to PMI's website, and just read more about the PMP exam, learn about PMI, the organization, what it's about. They're very, they just really, they come off as a really, really kosher, good group of folks that like really, give our knowledge and practice domain a good name, so to speak, right? And so that's that. Chapter two of her book then gets into what is a project. And we've all done projects before, whether or not you realize it. We've done a project before. Okay, technically, when you're writing an important term paper, for instance, or at work, there's this one big report that, um, you know, depending on what you have to do before, like the deliverable, the final deliverable, right, is the report. But building a house is just a very simple example, and Professor Goodrich might also mention it in her book, but for me, I can just, again, just brainstorming, building house is the perfect example, okay? And the technical definition by PMI is, let me actually expand this slide. Hopefully it doesn't cut it off at the bottom. Of course it does. Technology, gotta love it. A temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product, service, or result. And just a quick aside before I move on to the next slide, or as I transition to the next slide. Usually, why? Okay, so that's a good definition. Building a house, simple logic. Well, folks need to live in houses, right? In decent places, and that's a house. But companies usually, so let's say when Apple was inventing the iPhone or the iPad or whatever, right? Companies realized, hey, you know what? We, so part of it is, and just, our capitalistic societies, we invent products to help our lives get better, all right? Or the government might pass a law saying, you know what? the environment. Because of climate change, we need to make buildings environmentally, we have to, cut carbon emissions. And so there's, it could be legal reasons, it could be commercial decision by a company, like a private company, or the government, etc. Okay, so there's many reasons in terms of like why projects are undertaken to begin with in the first place. All right. Number three, sorry, rather chapter three, very, very, very important. Um, yeah, you want to really read chapter three real close, and so let's just get right into it. Primarily, chapter three, Professor Goodrich is we're looking at PMI's, the PMBOK guides framework, or the PMBOK framework. Okay, and so basically, here's what you have: the basic breakdown of the PMBOK, right? Is you have 5 process groups, okay, by 10 knowledge areas. Again, there's a matrix. For instance, I'm looking right at it here in front of me, page 34 of her book. All right, this is her exam prep guide, exam prep book. Page 34. There's basically you have a matrix. You have a table. All right, knowledge areas, first column on the y-axis, and then on the x-axis, the columns 2 to 6, you have the there's 5. All right, you have initiating, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. Okay, the 10 knowledge areas, excuse me: integration, scope, schedule, cost, quality, resource, communication, risk, procurement, and stakeholder. Obviously, this is an overview video. We're not gonna get into it, but later you want to be looking out for these. All right, and it's also the framework. The PMI framework also assumes that we're working based on what's called a plan, do, check, act cycle. And so in that cycle, it's really interesting because so when you look at the 5, don't it can get confusing when you're like trying to understand the whole process or the whole concept. But you have initiation. So let's just go back a little bit. First you initiate the project. There's a sponsor. Apple commissions whatever, like oh, me build let's I'm building a house. I want to build a house, so I'm the sponsor. I hire a company, a contractor that, and I tell them, you know what, I want to build a house. So later, the details you learn in the book or whatever, the charter. So like then there's a charter drawn up, and usually, of course, with in the details of it, you have contracts, you have legal stuff, you have insurance, you have this, you have that, right? So initiating, planning, executing, these are the stages. But the point here is, look at the reason I highlight and I was trying to like kind of point them out in a special way. So planning, for initiating and closing, those are simple enough. But you have planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling. And those ones right there, it's like throughout the execution stage, like throughout, um, um, you're gonna start, you know, the sponsor orders that, somehow you decide I need to build a house, right? You work with a company, with the contractor. Again, there's an architect. There's planning. Then there's you execute. But as you do this, as you go through those stages in general, this cycle right here keeps repeating throughout. Right. So as you plan, as like there's a contract, the architect, working with the architect, working with the bank, working with insurance, like this right here, check, plan, do, check, act. All right, and which breaks down to like basically it's you have planning, executing, monitoring, and controlling. It's a circular kind of process. Like it just keeps happening what throughout this processes. So I'm not gonna dwell too long on that. I hope that's not confusing, and I hope I've done a good job of kind of like just breaking it down for you, because it does get confusing when you look when you're trying to like kind of digest it. All right, now the other two important points to mention are progressive elaboration, meaning we work in the beginning. We have, so depending on the type of project, of course, like the details, a lot of the time, projects, we know what we want to do. There's a goal that we have. Let me stick with my example of the house. Okay. We drop I know I want I'm rich, let's say. I want a three, I don't know, whatever square foot house with this and that, and you have that, right? And and so it's all good. You get the plans. You have, the architect helps you. You have a plan. You have everything. But progressive elaboration means throughout these details, as you execute the project, things will have to get clearer and clearer. You'll have to clarify things more and more. Details will come up, and things will happen. For instance, as you're building the house, regardless of the season, let's say you guys have, you choose the spring or like early summer, which is maybe arguably the best weather kind of season in which to build. And then, God forbid, it's the winter delay. Like you have a long winter or something happens. Throughout the process, things will kind of get clearer and clearer, and details will have to be worked out. And this is why the job of a project manager exists. Okay. The other concept that you need to familiarize yourself with, and here, what I've done in the slide, I've given you homework. Like I'm telling, part of the Long Live People project, I'm saying we don't Google enough. All right. So when you type it into Google, voila, here's what happens. It comes up. Partial answer that I give you in brief here is inputs, tools and techniques, and outputs. All right. And so I'm not gonna, again, this is an overview. I'm not gonna get into it, but you'll see later. It can get confusing from like chapter to chapter when like there's a lot, because like there's bins. I believe first I think like first three are kind of just straightforward, 3 or 4, and then the last 5 or whatever are she describes them as bins, quote unquote, where there's like within each of those, there's like there's documents within, there's like a set of documents, a set of outputs, etc. You know what I mean? So just don't let all that like give you a headache. Just kind of have the big picture in mind as you delve into the details. Okay. All right. Now, as I conclude, and I've got over time. Yes, I know. And let me restart the timer right here. I paused it at the 2 minute mark. The 2 minute mark. Uh, just a little bit of my own kind of my own little tidbits from my own notes. Like I as I was um, reading the book, this is kind of some of the notes that I wrote. Okay. Keeps cutting it off, so I wish I could like demonstrate it in full, but let's just work with what we have. So here's what I wrote verbatim. No, I'm quoting myself. Like this is like in pencil. This is what I actually wrote in the in the prep book. Okay, because I just write in there, and let me just highlight it in yellow. Okay, verbatim note number 1. Like so what I wrote. Planning is the process group. Apparently, when I looked at the table on page 34, when you do the count, you have in the column of planning, you have 24 out of 49. Like that's the column with the most tasks, right? The process group with the most tasks in relation to the knowledge areas. Okay, so almost when you do the calculator, it looks like let me see if it's saved. Like it comes out to like I have 48.9, more or less 50%. So that's just again the planning is the process group with the most tasks. Number 1. The note number 2, another note that I wrote for myself, and I have 30 seconds left now. You know what? I'm not gonna. So here were like. So this is some notes that I'm gonna upload this PowerPoint to my website, and by all means go take a look at it. But in a nutshell, this is the overview of chapters 1 to 3 of Professor Goodrich's book, which is in turn based on the PMBOK-Guide. All right. So future project managers, those of you future PMPs, which is a very prestigious certification. I hope this has helped you, right? But again, just to go back to the disclaimer, this is not enough. All right, you have to actually really delve into this stuff, learn it. It's a tough exam. It's known to be a tough exam, but the rewards for it are also like passing it. Opens. It really helps your career. Okay. All right, so folks, thank you so much for watching. That concludes the first part of the project management videos, and yes, I just I just feel bad. I just kind of no, it doesn't feel right for me to say this, but hey, in all seriousness, if you do like these videos, let me know. Give me some feedback. I can make more in the future. Okay, so by all means, if you like it, if you like it, then like it. You know the button, and share it, and subscribe to the channel, etc., etc. It's always a pleasure for me to do these. I hope you're benefiting from them. And so I will see you next time, so to speak. I will record the next episode for you for the next set of 3 chapters, and we'll keep going until we cover all the 15 chapters of Professor Goodrich's book. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Saif Sekalala. Have yourself a blessed, a great day or evening, night, depending on wherever you are. All right, see you next time. Bye bye now.